Okay, so today we're going to be doing the purification of sodium bicarbonate and sodium carbonate. So this is going to be an example of how green chemistry is going to be applied and how it could be basically utilized to the disposal of basically safe chemical waste and everything of that nature. Okay, so what I've done already is I have heated this for about 5 minutes, so it's been washed and heated. And the reason why we heat it after we wash it is because we don't want to have any excess weight added to the crucible. We want this to be as pure as possible. So by heating and allowing the water to evaporate, this is going to give us the very true mass of just the crucible and the lid itself. So the mass of the empty crucible came out to 41.468 grams. Now what I'm going to add is a mixture of sodium bicarbonate and the sodium carbonate mixture that is described in the lab. So I'm going to fill this up about 1/3 of the way full. So we do want a really good heaping amount of this mixture. Typically, if we were doing this in the lab together, I would maybe require you guys to add maybe about half of it, but because it's just me who's doing this, I'm just going to make it about 1/3 of the way full. So you can kind of already take note of how much I'm adding, like how long this is kind of taking me to add the mixture until it's about 1/3 of the way full. And the reason, I mean, we could always do a small amount, but the reason why we're doing a pretty decent size amount is because we want it to give us a really good number and as far as data goes. So now what I'm going to use are my crucible tongs, and I'm going to pick up the lid and then place it on the crucible. Now I don't want to touch the crucible after I've already cleaned and heated it, because I don't want to add any oils from my fingers onto the crucible, or else it's going to manipulate and mess with the overall mass of the crucible and the mixture. So now what we're going to do next is we're going to find the mass of the mixture plus the crucible. Okay, so 50 is a little bit too much. Let's try 45. Okay, so now we're at 44. Let's move this kind of all the way down. See what we get there. All right, just a little bit more maybe. So that's going to be somewhere in the 9s. Yeah, I think that's as good as we're going to get. So 44.98, and then my guess is going to be 1 grams. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to move the crucible over to what's called the clay triangle, which is what you see here. So I am going to put this on the highest flame possible, and once again, without touching the crucible, I'm going to use the crucible tongs and place it right at the very center of my clay triangle. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to eschew the lid of the crucible, but I'm not going to completely remove it. And as you read in the instructions, it says the reason we do this is so that way there's no gas buildup, since we are going to be producing a little bit of carbon dioxide gas. So to prevent the crucible from breaking and exploding, we're just going to slightly eschew it. And now that I think about it, it's probably a little bit too much there. Patience and delicate is key when it comes to using these pieces of equipment.